The ongoing debate of whether Ollie is a good manager or, as football Twitter likes to call him, a PE teacher has divided not only the opinions of neutrals, but of the United fan base itself. Results, save the Champions League this season, have been great in 2020. So, with 2 years at United under his belt, let's take stock of what Ollie has done and the shape of United in this moment. I'm Adrian, thanks for stopping by, and be sure to subscribe if you're new to Rabona TV. Also, let me know what you think in the comments section. Is Ollie doing a great job? Is he getting better as he goes on? Or do you think United should bring in someone else still? Let's hit it. Something that United had been dying for was a creative force in the midfield to drive their attack forward. They had some decent attackers in Rashford and Martial. Greenwood was starting to make his claim for starting positions as well, but none of them fit the mold of a creator. Was the aging Mata to be relied upon? The up-and-coming Jesse Lingard? Or a Pogba that seems and has seemed genuinely disinterested in Manchester United over the past couple of seasons? I mean, their attack could work when playing on the counter at times, but without someone to pull the strings in midfield, too often it would seem one-dimensional. But with the arrival of Bruno Fernandes, they have that man now, someone who can finish off his own chances that he creates for himself, create chances for others, and convert every penalty that comes his way. And I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. Across all competitions this season, he has scored 14 and assisted 9 in 23 appearances, meaning he's been involved in 23 goals in 23 matches. You add that to his numbers for United from last season, and he has already been involved in 43 goals in just 45 matches, proving that the Premier League wasn't ever a step too far for him. With the threat he has brought, we can't look past how Rashford has improved as well. Are they linked? I mean, possibly, as quality players, good quality players, bring out the best in their teammates as well. And Bruno's single-minded focus on very, very high standards he sets for himself bleed into the expectations he has of his teammates as well. You've seen him arguing with them on the pitch. You've heard the stories of him giving them a rollicking in the dressing room at halftime. He has brought a ton to Ollie's United. And you could say that Ollie has been held up by Bruno's performances. I don't know if that's fair. There's a lot of teams that have one single player that carries them, in a sense, that they look to as the leader, and I don't think that you can hold that against Ollie necessarily. And clearly Rashford is one of those players that has taken to Bruno's sort of leadership, while also fulfilling the potential that he's had, that natural ability that was plain for everyone to see. 14 goals and 8 assists across all competitions, he's absolutely flying, and there's hope for Greenwood to follow in his footsteps. Another one that has the talent to reach the heights that Rashford has thus far. And then there's Anthony Martial. I mean, we'll see with him. His fluctuations in form have represented the same sort of form that United has struggled with at times under Ollie, but almost to a worse degree. Another player that you can see has such a great natural ability, but looks like he suffers from confidence issues. I don't know. I'm no mind reader, but if it's not that, then it's quite simply that he severely struggles with consistency. When he's on, he's one of the smoothest players with the ball at his feet and can put the ball where he wants to in the goal. But too often we see him dribbling straight into opponents or sending his typically accurate passes straight into the opposing defenders or sending the ball flying into the stands. But if that's one of the few low points in their attack, a player that struggles for form, then United are doing okay in that regard. They are truly exciting to watch when in full flight, but like Martial, their attack labors at times against teams that sit deep. Overall, I'd say big improvements have been made in the past 2 years in the attack, but it's not perfect just yet. Unfortunately, their overall performances are being held back by something else. Now, while their attack can be great to watch at times, their defense has become their Achilles heel, and it's no wonder why they have shoveled so much money on that part of the pitch over the years. The organization of such has been something that Ollie hasn't been able to sort out. While the personnel are one thing, and they have to take some responsibility, I personally believe that they perhaps lack a leader at the back, in spite of purchasing Harry Maguire to be just that. He's fallen short of expectations. Though I will say, while the personnel is a big issue, the system and organization put in place by the manager, or the lack thereof, as we've seen how, for example, Mourinho has been able to make Tottenham's defense much more assured in 2020, a team that was hemorrhaging goals under Pochettino and in the early days of Mourinho. I think that Ollie could do better here. But we'll get to that when we talk about Ollie later, as let's start from the very back for United. Henderson has looked promising, but we haven't seen him because of David De Gea, and he's accumulated a collection of weak goals that he has conceded in the last couple of seasons. The infamous near post meme and all that. But I think net, he's still a great goalkeeper. He, of course, is suffering a bit from being unable to reach the heights of his 2017-18 season when he won the Golden Glove and was, prior to that 2018 World Cup, perhaps the best keeper in the world at that time. So I think it's a question of expectations. To expect him to be able to maintain that level of performance is setting a bar that few could consistently reach. In order to do that, you'd have to be close to one of the best keepers of all time. And when we look back in history, I suspect that David De Gea will be remembered as an excellent keeper, but not one of the best of all time. It's a matter of reassessing your expectations of him a bit, in my opinion at least. And then there's the fullback positions for United. Luke Shaw, after constantly getting trashed by Mourinho, has found his feet for United. And while he isn't fighting for the best left back in the league title just yet, he's certainly been an improvement and has shown flashes of brilliance. I remember a few occasions where he's been the best defender on the pitch for United. But again, he has it in him to make some terrible mistakes. Consistency is an issue. Sometimes when it comes to his tracking, his man marking, and positioning on the pitch, he struggles. Telish was brought in early doors. It looks promising for him. I can say he's a quality player from his Porto days, but good at one club doesn't always equal good at another. That's what actually makes Bruno's transition all the more impressive. When a player comes in and performances don't drop at all, damn. And of course, Aaron Wan-Bissaka is a great defender. Hard to have any complaints there. Perhaps some cover at right back would be a good idea because Williams, he's not bad. But when you move to the center back positions, you find yourself with a bunch of individuals that completely lack consistency. Lindelof and Maguire can be a great pairing on their day, but they can also put in an absolute stinker. I think both defenders have ability, but they lack the sort of organizational and leadership skills to really take hold of the defense. They are good as a partner, not the main man calling the shots. They are more of the Varane to a Sergio Ramos. You know what I mean? Because again, call me biased, but look at how Ruben Dias has revolutionized City's back line with how he organizes the entire back line and the leadership skills that he exhibits. I feel like that's what United is lacking. Either Lindelof or Maguire paired with a player like that, that's probably a great back line. But United's defense always seems like it will be their Achilles heel, and here's what The Athletic's Laurie Whitwell had to say. Quite obviously, no team can keep conceding 2 goals per game and be considered contenders, not even one creating as much as they are at present. Leicester City joined Leeds United, Sheffield United, Southampton, and Brighton and Hove Albion in scoring twice against Solskjaer's side this campaign. Crystal Palace got 3, and Tottenham Hotspur doubled that. United have conceded 2 or more goals in 7 league games, which is only 3 games shy of last season's total for the entire campaign, when they conceded 2 or more goals in 10 league games, and more already in 11 previous campaigns in the Premier League. So United find themselves in a funny position. When they sit back and play on the counter against quote-unquote big teams, they defend well. But as soon as they push things forward and try to play with a more expansive attacking style, they leave themselves completely exposed. Perhaps a legitimate ball-winning, defensive-minded midfielder is necessitated for that back line, as the double pivot of Fred and McTominay is serviceable, but not to the level that they perhaps need when they want to play that expansive football. The defending will continue to hold them back, and it's gotta be top of mind for Solskjaer to sort out. And speaking of which, so I used to be vocal about how Solskjaer wasn't a good manager and United could do much better. How he got way more slack than previous managers due to his achievements at the club as a player, and I stand by some of that. Then I sort of thought, why am I calling for this guy to go when one, that's negative and toxic and sensationalist and all of the things that I want to avoid on my channel and have done well recently to rectify that? And two, as a Benfica supporter, why do I care? I'm not a United fan channel, so long as someone isn't doing something racist, sexist, or just overall deplorable, I'm not going to call for their sacking. Question their ability? Sure, but I won't go further than that. With that out of the way, let's take an objective look at this and throw our bias aside. As with how I treat everyone on the channel now, if you do well, you get praise. If you do poorly, you get criticism, and nobody is safe from it, not even Benfica. The only exception to the rules are Alphonso Davies, and Erling Haaland, because they can do no wrong. So United was a team that needed a ton of investment, of quality investment, and Ollie got that. He can't say that he hasn't, and it has led to better results for the most part. Of course, when you compare this to the United of old, well, there's no comparison really. That United, dead and gone now, and they're trying to build something from the ashes. But it does now feel like they're trending in the right direction, and Ollie needs to get some credit for that. He smacked of a man that was learning on the job, and in my opinion, when it comes to his substitutions, he still is learning. But that's not to discount how he has improved. Yes, United's slow starts in some matches can fall on the manager, and perhaps he should have them raring to go from the beginning. But I mean, all teams suffer from that now and then, and if we're being honest, responsibility does have to fall on the players as well. As a professional, you have to find it within yourself to be motivated. The best professionals are capable of this, but when that fails, a good manager should know when and how to sort of bridge that gap for their players. And I think Ollie is figuring that out as time goes on. When United has had a bad half or found themselves falling behind, there have been numerous games of late where we have seen a much improved side in the second half. In 2020, with the arrival of Bruno and all of the contributions he's made to their offense, Ollie's United have ranked extremely well on the points per game basis. Let's move on to that now. Again, from Laurie Whitwell of The Athletic, I've linked to his article below, by the way, so go and check that out. Here's a table that shows how they have ranked in 2020. So the latter half of last season and the first half of this season in the Premier League. 1.97 points per game, behind only City and Liverpool, though their expected goals does point to some problems in the chance creation department. For all of the good that Bruno has brought, there is still room for improvement in their attack. Those matches where United are up against deep-lying defenses and just constantly pass around the 18 are laborious to watch, as they have a ton of trouble breaking those kinds of teams down. And the matches where they sit back and play on the counter translate to nothing but near perfection from their attackers is needed, as they'll get a few chances and they have to score from them. There are areas where Solskjaer could do a lot better. I mean, the Europa League run last season felt like a missed opportunity as the team wilted towards the end of that campaign. A long season, yes, but it was a long season for everyone, so that argument doesn't make sense as a reason for their failure. Then of course there was the massive failure, in my opinion, in failing to get out of their Champions League group this season when they were in first with 2 matches remaining and had their destiny in their own hands. That loss away to Başakşehir was a big reason as to why they went out, but if you want to compete in the Champions League, you have to hold your own against the big teams as well, and they failed to do so in the latter half of the fixture, so that's a failure on their part. As mentioned earlier, sometimes Ollie's substitutions leave me a bit baffled. That loss against RB Leipzig comes to mind when plenty of defenders were getting brought onto the pitch when they needed goals in order to save their campaign. The attacking patterns are great when it comes to attacking in transition, stunning to watch at times, but as mentioned, the inability to break down teams that sit deep is a problem that Ollie has yet to solve. Consistently, at least. I repeat, to solve it consistently, as yes, they have beat teams like Wolves recently who sit deep, but to do it consistently can be an issue. As well, I think that he does have to take part of the blame for United's defensive deficiencies. It comes down to the players, yes, but a group of average defenders can still defend well if they are well drilled and well organized, and I think that that's something that is lacking in United's defense. So I think when you net everything out, taking into account the negatives and the positives, overall United is moving in the right direction. Sure, some will say that they have benefit from the standards dropping a bit and the strong teams showing their bellies a little bit more recently, but then we have sides like Villa, Southampton, Leicester, and recently Everton as well, providing challenges for the top teams. Previously, the top teams would walk the rest of the league and then only get challenged by the other top teams. But now, difficult matches can come from a host of teams as they bob and weave in and out of the top 10 and even the top 4 or top 6, taking points off of the top sides regularly before eventually settling lower down in the table. But anyways, what do you guys think? Do you think that Ollie is doing a good job? Has the United ship finally found some calm waters? Are nautical metaphors necessary for me in this moment? No. But anyways, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to drop a like for me and subscribe if you're new. Let me know what you think. My name is Adrian, this is Rabona TV, and we hope to see you around here more often. Ciao!